Well, troubleshooting all the time. Wi-Fi issue. We are almost live. We're live.
Okay. Baruch Hashem, we're live. Okay. So I was thinking, because we were doing the Sichos Lamed Beis and Lamed Gimel Lamed Dal the past few weeks, which is about Emuna, Pshuta really. We'll go over it again a little bit. I wanted to continue the sugya. Remember, we used to do sugyas in Rabbi Nachman and in Breslov. But ever since we started Sichos Haran, it's different almost every week. But the past few weeks, the Sichos have been about Emuna. And I think there's even another one right there about this sugya. And I think it's very, very important. And we started a project, the Ani Ma'amin project. Right? The Ani Ma'amin project. Chazak, which has been going strong by some people, honestly. We've been discussing the sugya of Emunah Pshuta. That's really what we've been discussing. There's two types of Emunah, very basic background, and we've been learning this, but to chaz it over again and again, because the Yisodot of life, the Yisodot of Avoda have to be said over again and again and again. There's never an end. You just have to keep saying it over. So there's two levels of Emunah. There's Emunah Pshuta and Emunah Sichlis. Some call it other names, but we'll call it Emunah Sichlis, right? Intellectual Emunah. Most people are living with, most of the people that we know, there are people for sure not, but they're living with Emunah Sichlis. That they were taught by their parents, by their Rebbeim, through the Torah, that there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu who created the world, he took us out of Mitzrayim, and therefore a person lives with that. And it's in the world of logic, it's in the world that makes sense, in the world of reason and Havana and Chabad, Chachma Bina Das. And that's the world that's very, very holy. But if our Emunah is only left to that world, it can be dangerous. Because since it's an Emunah built off of understanding and logic, there can be people where in the back of their mind, the depth of their heart, they subconsciously, consciously, aware, unaware. I'm not sure if I'm a mammon. I don't really know. No one's ever really proven it to me. All those, Aish Torah events that they tried to prove it. I don't know if I believe in that stuff. Yeah, I do the thing. I go to daven, I do, but it's not chazak. You end up sometimes being a droopy Jew. Why are you a droopy Jew? Why aren't you on fire with Emuna, with the Kodesh Baruch Hu? Every single moment, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is creating and recreating and being mashgiach every single prat. He's with you every moment. Why aren't you on fire for that? Because in the back of their mind, they don't even know. They don't really believe. They haven't actualized their belief. Again, because since it's based on questions and answers and logic, right? It also is mechayiv them things, right? Obligates them to do mitzvahs and whatever. So Rabbi Nachman said that we need to go to a level called Emunah Pshuta. No chakiras, no questions. Ani Mamen. I believe. I am a believer. Even that word we said is a little bit of a dangerous word. Ani Mamen is a better word. Emuna, that's what we're talking about. Emuna. Belief. It's not so passionate anymore. And sometimes people can believe in all types of things, and belief could even be not a vadai, right? I believe it to be so. I suppose so. So, ani mamen. Why are you mamen? Because ani mamen. No. I asked you. I understand those words, but why are you saying it? How do you can you prove that to me? Ani mamen. I don't think you understand the conversation. I mean, I'm having it with myself, obviously. Mm-hmm. But explain it to me. I mean, I don't see God. You see God? Ani Mamen. I believe. Emunah Pshuta is at a madrega. That's when all intellect ends. Really like this. Emunah Pshuta is before intellect starts. When I leave a little tiny kid who doesn't understand anything, and they can say Hashem is there, and they believe in Hashem, and they'll say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. They have no hasaga. They don't understand anything. Yet they'll still say, Ani Mamin. What is that? That's actually a high level. It's a high level. It's Emunah Pshuta. Then they start to understand things. That's when they start to understand that they don't understand, or they don't understand, therefore they become sometimes droopy Jews. Not always. Sometimes you become a droopy Jew because you've come to the places your mind is matured, but your mature logic understanding, you were never really taught Emuna even logically properly, and therefore which was once an innocent, pure Emuna in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, now it becomes tainted and blemished with your thinking. You never really work through the sugya because no one really learns it, right? We just, do the mitzvahs, learn Torah and daven, like it'll be okay. But it's not okay. If a person will be honest, it's not really okay. Because if it would be okay, then he wouldn't be a droopy Jew. He'd be on fire for davening, he'd be on fire for learning. Why aren't you? So then, and that's the way we live for a long time, but at a certain point we have to know, we have to always go back and forth. Emunah through the Torah is a very holy thing. I'm not taking away from it, it's very, very holy. But once in a while, you need to know that there's an Emunah Pshuta that's above everything, that there's no logic, there's nothing to say except for Ani Mamin. Why? Ani Mamin. How do you believe that? Because it's not logical. If you're a Jew and you have a neshama, you can say Ani Ma'amin Be'emuna Shalema. I believe there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu, he's a Borei, he created the world, he's a Manik, without any belief, understanding. There's no question. It's above question. All my intellectual emunas over here, this is where people get stuck. This emunah is over here. It's above. So when a person's speaking from this place, Ani Mamin, that is actually a high level emunah. To just say the words Ani Mamin. Even if you try to mean it, that's a very high level of emunah. It's hard for us to be masik that. Like, what do you mean? What's he doing? He's not doing anything. That's because you're coming from a place of logic. Right? What did he do? I don't understand. It's not complicated enough. That's too simple to be Emunah. No. Actually, Emunah Pshuta is very simple. To me, some Pshutas. It's the simplest thing in the world. Ani Mamin. I really believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So we started this project a little while ago, and I was telling people to voice know me, Ani Mamin, and I've had people text me and voice know me. I've had some really good ones. I had a guy, I woke up in the morning to a text. It was Gavaldik. Ani Mamin, even though it's like been, I forgot the exact lashon, even though it was a rough night, Ani Mamin. Probably he was up all night, who knows, himself, he's sick, a kid, I'm not sure exactly, it didn't matter. Point was, he said it in the mid, it was 2:30 in the, I think it was 3:44 in the morning, something like that. And yet he's saying Ani Mamin, and I started going crazy. Because what is that? Think about that. What is it when a person's in the middle of the night going through a rough time and he says Ani Mamin? It is the exact kiyum of the Emunah B'Leilos. Is that not the ultimate kiyum of Emunah B'Leilos? I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm waking up at 3:44 in the morning to deal with whatever it was he was dealing with. But yet I believe there's a Borei Olam. Adkan. Ani Mamin. That's a high madrega. What do you mean? What did he do? He said Ani Mamin. He said 2 words. You don't understand because you're trying to understand. That's your problem. Stop trying to understand sometimes. Go into that place of Emunah Pshuta. Eventually you have to come back down and also understand and do. And you have to be normal. You have to go back and forth. You really need both together. You need both together. You go into davening, like we've been discussing, and we have to actually get to the Torah here. You go to davening, and it looks like it's gonna be a bad davening. I'm like another one. I'm like, what am I even doing here? If I'm honest, like, what am I doing here? You go and you say, Ani Mamin Be'emunah Shalema. I don't care if I don't understand any of the words. I don't care how I'm feeling. I'm gonna just daven because I believe. Whether it goes well, doesn't go, doesn't matter. I believe there's a Borei Olam. I believe he wants me to daven. I'm going to daven. No judgments. Doesn't matter how I think I'm going to do. Nobody cares what you think. Why you even about you think about yourself? Kodesh Baruch Hu cares how you think right now. Just do the thing. Do it chazak. Do it chazak. We don't realize how easy it is. We have to just break out of. It's like a narishkeit. The this whole logic stuff, it's such a narishkeit. It's a big klipa. It's a big, thick, fat klipa on top of us that prevents us from breaking out of the droopiness. That's what the klipa is. No, be a droopy Jew because it makes sense that you're a droopy Jew. It makes sense. So what do you know anyway? What do you know? You don't learn well. You don't really know. You don't really keep all the mitzvahs so well. You know that. You don't really learn. You don't. So therefore, the klipa is just like squeezing you. Right? If you're not doing all these good things, well then it makes sense. I am obligated to be a droopy Jew. Because if I wouldn't be a droopy Jew, I'd be lying. I'd be a big chakra. That's what the Yetzer Hara tells a person. So therefore, he keeps a person in a perennial, I don't know what the word is, a perpetual thing, that's the word I was thinking of, a perpetual state of droopiness. And a person thinks he's doing it like it's from. No, because it's not appropriate that I should be chazak, because I have all these problems. It's a Yetzer Hara, destroying Jew after Jew. The Jew should say, I don't care about Yetzer Hara. I'm above. Ani mamen. But you don't daven. I don't care. I'm at shul. I'm going to say the words. Yeah, but you know what they mean. Who cares? I believe there's a God. Yeah, but where's the avodah shabalev? I don't care. There's a Borei Olam. I know that. I believe that. I'm going to daven, and I'm going to be happy doing it. It's really that simple. So based on that, and based on a person saying Ani Mamen, so we're going to learn a little bit from Tinyana Hay, Likutei Moharan, Tinyana Hay. I think it's the longest Torah in Likutei Moharan, so we're only going to see a little drop of it. Hopefully we're going to be able to finish everything tonight. And then, by way of Tinyana Hay, we're going to swoop in to a Sicha that we actually skipped. That in and of itself is a big Sicha, even though I'm not sure why we skipped it. I don't know why. But it ties beautifully into the Sugi that we're learning. So let's try to move a little fast here. Not too fast, but okay. So it says Sicha 16 over there, Tinyana Hay. See that on the pages? So I took out, when I say ... over there, I cut out some paragraphs. I'm skipping around a little bit. The whole Torah is about Emunah. Ha'ikar hu Emunah, says Rabbi Nachman. That's how the Torah starts. Ha'ikar is Emunah. V'tzorach kol echad l'chapes es atzmo, v'l'chazek es atzmo. A person has to seek within himself, not seek within himself, and strengthen himself in Emunah. See, Emunah Pshuta comes from the self. Emunah Sichli has to come from somewhere else outside. It's intellectual, so it comes from the Torah, it comes from my parents, it comes from some kind of thinking, right? It's logical, the outside. Emunah Pshuta comes from inside. I know. We say every single day in Uvaltzion, Chai Olam Nata B'Sochen. Eternal life was implanted within us. We have an neshama. If you have a neshama, you could say Ani Mamin without any doubts. Done. Says Rabbi Nachman al Kain, I didn't feel this Emuna in Moed Lolo or Fu of the Tefillah of those Chosavas. He's going through each one of these, and I just quoted the last line. But Rabbi Nachman says that through a nefil of Emuna, when a person falls in his Emuna, then Rafua doesn't work, Tefillah doesn't work, Chosavas doesn't work. Ki kol Elohim b'china Emuna. All of these things are the b'china of Emuna. Now, just to understand, I mean, Rafua. Well, there's many people in the world who are taking medicines, and it's working, and they have no Emuna. So what does it mean? How does it make sense? What do you mean? It doesn't work. It works, right? How could he say such a thing? You have many Jews who are taking medicines, and they don't have Emuna. So either one you could say, but they have Emuna in the medicine, which is not what we want, but it's still an Emuna. It's still a concept of believing in something. Or, what was I thinking? I don't know. Not really sure. That might be what he means. He's not talking. It means like this, that whether the medicine works or not, those who are in the world of Emunah, right, believe that it works because the Kodesh Baruch Hu decided it should work. Right? If you're in the world of Emunah. Correct? If you're not in the world of Emunah, the medicine might work, but you're going to believe what? Teva. You're going to believe nature. This medicine, there's some power in the herbs of the ground, and they ground it down and it became Tylenol. And that's how it worked. So the effect of the medicine may or may not work. And if you have Emuna, then you believe that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who made the medicine work. And if you don't have Emuna, then you'll believe in something else. Let me give you an example. We have medicines. Okay? Does a medicine work every single time? It doesn't work every single time. And you even have medicine that shouldn't work but works. What's that called? A placebo. Right? It's a sugar pill. Doesn't have any medicine, doesn't have any of the Tylenol, whatever it doesn't, whatever the medicine, doesn't have it, but yet somehow it works. So what happens now? So now you have medicine that doesn't always work, and you have medicine that shouldn't work but does work. So what's the thinking? So if you're a person of Emuna, Haraya, this is the greatest proof that there's a Borei Olam. And if he wants the medicine to work, it'll work. And if he wants the medicine not to work, it won't work. And if he wants a placebo pill to work, it will work. If he wants it not to work, it won't work. It's up to him. I believe in him, and I trust in him that he'll make it work if it's supposed to work. Shalom Yisrael. But you could have a person who's looking at the same thing and say, not that he'll say medicine's not the thing that really makes it work, because you see sometimes it doesn't work, or things that shouldn't work do work. It's the mind. It's the mind. The mind is the power. It's not really the medicine. It's not the medicine. You see, this medicine sometimes doesn't work, sometimes does work. It's the mind. It's whatever you do you believe to heal or do you not believe to heal? Not in God. Right? So if there's an afila of Emuna, refuah doesn't work, meaning it doesn't connect you to a Kodesh Baruch. Refuah, the whole tachas of refuah, why a person gets sick, why a person gets healed, is to bring a person close to Kodesh Baruch, to bring him to an Emuna. How did you get sick? How did that happen? Where did medicine come from? How does medicine work? All the answers are supposed to be ultimately a Kodesh Baruch. Yes, has this medicinal purpose, this thing, and has these ingredients, but ultimately, how did this get into the world? Because it's a Kodesh Baruch. It's never push it. Hey, I have a card right here. Here's the medicine card. You have the medicine card? You have it?
No.
You have it. You know the medicine? So Allah from Shulchan Aruch. Kodesh Baruch Hu, may be your will that this medicine I'm taking, this ASEC, this procedure that I'm doing, should be a refuah, should work. Because you, Kodesh Baruch Hu, are the free healer. You take the medicine, Baruch Rofei Chol. Blessed are you, the one who heals the sick. You're supposed to say that before every medicine. Because every time you take medicine, you have an option to go Keser, I believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, or Koris. You can cut yourself off from a Kodesh Baruch Hu and say, oh, there's a koach in the medicine. Every single time. Right? So with these tefillahs, it locks you into Emuna. Now Rabbi Nachman says, in the second paragraph, now if you have fallen in Emuna, your Emuna Pshuta is just not going right now. You need to dig deep and find the water from which Emuna grows. Even Emuna needs something to grow, which is a fascinating concept. You think Emuna is the first thing. What do we need? What's the water that will make Emuna grow? It says, no one else speaks like this. The water here that will make Emuna grow is the bechina called eitzis, which means advice. Okay. Shamisham gedel Emuna. From that place called an eitzah, that's where Emuna grows from. He brings a pasuk. Bechinas Ode Shimcha. I admit to your name, or I thank your name. Ki asisa pella eitzos meirachok, because you performed wondrous eitzos from afar. Kodesh Baruch Hu, Emuna Omen, which built my Emunah. So you see, the eitzes, we'll see what it is in a minute, but whatever these eitzes are, that builds a person's Emunah. The word omen, which is like the Lashon Emuna, which is in the pasuk, Emuna omen. Omen means to like raise up. Mordechai was omen as Hadassah. Mordechai, the uncle of Esther, he raised Hadassah. The pasuk says omen, like Emuna. When you believe in something, you raise it up. Right? If you believe in a kid, if you believe in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, you're raising, you're giving it a cover, you're believing in it. It says Nachman, Sha'al Yidei ha'eitzes gidei l'emunah. You see from this pasuk, through eitzes, Emuna grows. The eitzes hein bechinas omek alev. Now, what is the eitzah here? What exactly is the eitzah that helps build Emuna? So Rabbi Nachman, it's called omek halev, the depth of one's heart. He explains. Hein kishin iskalkel v'nofel Emuna. When a person's Emuna falls, it's not clear to him. That's what it means. It's not clear. It's not clear. He's getting caught up in teva. He's getting caught up in business deals. He's getting caught up in money. He's getting caught up in doctors and things. He's getting caught up in his Kodesh Baruch Hu is not in his mind at that point. He's forgetting. Ad she'ein ma'oel afilu kol tzaka. That his Emunah has fallen to the point where he can't even call out a kol tzaka. He can't even call out vayitzak. Right? Vayitzak, like where do we have that? Klaus Abba Mitzrayim. That's where the whole Gula started. That was a scream without words, but it was a scream out loud. That started the whole Gula. That's a bechina at least of Emuna, because who are you calling out to? Kodesh Baruch Hu. But there could be a time where a person, he's so not even there. He's so far, he's just not there. He can't even get a scream out. If he wants to, he just can't. He's not feeling it. He's in a deep problem. It can't be a God over here. How could it be? Or he's just so emotionally caught up in stresses and anxieties that he's not able to get out any type of, even though he'll say, I believe in Hashem, I believe in Hashem, but he's really hurting. And he can't daven. He can't get anything out. So he can't even, is Adshein Moel Afilu Kol Tzaka? Even a kol, a voice of tzaka, of screaming out, calling out to Kodesh Baruch Hu, he can't do. Shul kol b'lo dibur, which is a voice without even words. We're not even saying say words. Right? Kol with dibur is one level of tefillah. Kol without dibur is another level of tefillah. Azai, so what do you do now? You can't say words. You're not even able to scream with a voice. You're just so down. So says Rabbi Nachman, Azai tzrichen litzok men halev levad. There's a way to scream out to Kodesh Baruch Hu from the inside. No voice. From the heart itself. He brings a pasuk, Tzak libam el Hashem. Their hearts screamed out to Hashem. Shu tzakas alev levad. Below beliko. It's just a scream of the heart. Without any dibur. Nothing. From the depths I call to you, Kodesh Baruch Hu. From the depths. Some understand the pasuk, of course, as from a very, very deep place, very emotional place. Donal screams out to Hashem. That's, of course, a way from the pasuk. But another way to put the pasuk is now from a very deep place, deeper than call, no voice came out. I call to you, Kodesh Baruch Hu. Like in the back of one's head, in the mind, you scream out to Kodesh Baruch Hu. He says, Umka deliba, from the depth of the heart. And this place within your heart, which is not audible, is not seen, it is not heard. You don't even believe maybe that it should work. Yet, Nachman is saying, this Amkas Alev, again, it's a scream to Kodesh Baruch Hu without any voice, and we'll explain more soon. It's called the Omek Alev. And it's the Eitzah. It's the Eitzah that builds your Emunah. It's the water. Now that's pretty big. Emunah is the biggest thing in our life. Ha'ikar hu Emunah. But to get Emunah, you need something else. Right? The tree is the ikar, but if you don't have the water, the tree can't grow. Right? So the water becomes integral. Emuna is the ikr, but it needs water to grow. How does it grow? Omek halev, depth of the heart. He brings a raya. Bechinas, pasuk in Mishlei, he loves this pasuk. Mayim amukim eitza belev ish. There's deep waters that are called eitza in the heart of man. The umka de liba is the levish. The umka de liba is the levish. Mayim amukim belev. That's the eitza. Eitza is eitzas mein rachok emuna omen. Eitzas are the things that make the emuna grow. So what ultimately makes the emuna grow? The omek halev, which is a scream out to a Kodesh Baruch Hu without any words. Why am I bringing this in specifically here? This is a Gewaltic Torah Stam. Because I want to continue with our Ani Mammon project. And even though there are people who are voice noting me Ani Mammon, which I always answer, and if I hear them, they're not saying it emisdik, I say, that's great, you have Emuna, but you could even say it even a little bit better. Even though it's great, they have Emuna. But they have to believe in themselves. It can get even better. People are texting it, but even if you don't want to do any of that, and even if you can't say out the words, it sounds funny, but there's something even deeper, more powerful. In your mind, in your heart, when you're by yourself and it's quiet and you don't have to say anything, you could scream in your head without saying it, the words, Ani Mammon. Because I really believe in you. It might be hard for people to say it out loud. They're not used to it. Fine. So then, but say it in your heart. Say it in your heart. So some would say, before learning this Torah, that's nothing. That's nothing. You know, say it out loud. Make it, mean it. Nachman says, "Punt fakir." Of course, you say it out loud. Of course, but the true energy, the battery, the chiyas for even the words that are coming out comes from that place called the Omek Halev. And if you could do the avodah of Omek Halev by yourself in your room, just in your head, you just say Kodesh Baruch Hu in your head. I'm not saying. I'm just thinking. What did I just say? Nothing. You don't know what I said. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I mamish believe in you. Ani Mammon, I mamish believe in you. Yes, I might be a droopy Jew sometimes. Yes, but I really, really do believe in you. You say that in your head, in your heart, by yourself, guaranteed you're going to feel much more powerful. So even if you don't want to, my point, so why am I doing, again, this is the hemshich of what we're discussing. It's Emunah Pshuta, and you don't even have to say it out loud. Oh my God. What is it? Liba. Do it. Who saw the alarm clock today? Saw the alarm clock? You saw the post? Look at it. That's a Jewish alarm clock. 6 o'clock in the morning, Modani, alarm clock, 7 o'clock, it says Ani Mammon, 8 o'clock is Kirvas Elokim Litov, which is Dvekis, Bavavi, 9 o'clock, I'm not even sure what time I'm up to anymore. 9 o'clock is again Ani Mammon, 10 o'clock. Say it, don't say it, think it. But if you're going to say it in your head, say it in your head. We think thoughts all day long, but they're very, what's the word? This fleeting, ephemeral. I don't know where that came from. I'm not sure if that's the right word. You like that? Okay. All right, I'll take it. You need to speak out in your head. Actually speak out in your head. I do it all the time. My moms do it all the time. Sometimes I also speak out loud. But if I'm not in the mood to do that, do it in your head. Are you showing it to him?
Yeah.
It's a alarm clock, no? It doesn't really matter, but what's Gematria Belevish? It's not the biggest deal. What? No? What's the Gematria Belevish? It's not Medemi, so I figure I'll say it.
34.
Yeah. 311. 345. Gematria Moshe. I don't know. My Mamukim Eitza Belevish, right? He was the Levish. Anyway, let's go weiter.
He's the one who screamed out.
And your side his hands up in the morning.
Nope, there you go. Valkain, right? He just had his hands up. But he yelled of Emuna. His hands. His head. He probably was screaming out loud too, but he probably was. Yeah. There's a great poem. I don't know who was there Thursday night. I was there Thursday night. I'll show you this poem that I read from this Jewish poet. Chabur Thursday night. Wow. I have to read it to you. I don't want to ruin it. I have it here. I don't think I have it here. All right. We'll get it next time. Valkane. It was posted. It was probably posted last week. Valkane. Kishain Moel Cold Sock. Don't worry about it. Valkane. Kishain Moel Cold Sock. Machmas Tefilas Emuna. And therefore, if your audible scream is not working because your Emuna is a little bit lower right now, you need to go deep. Talking to yourself in your head, screaming to yourself in your head without even saying it out loud. As I tzrichen litzok min alev levad. Scream out from your heart alone. B'li kol rak me'umka delibo, from the depth of one's heart. Vayedei ze nizgal ha'etzes, and from that place the etzes grow. Unbelievable. Shem bechinas mayim amukim etza. They become the mayim amukim, the deep waters. We know the purest waters are the deepest. They become the etza that all Emuna grows from.
You have to not have Emuna to have Emuna.
Sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I was just talking to somebody today, and he was in a struggle. He was in a very deep struggle. And one of the things I was telling him was that it stinks. I said, it's very difficult what you're in now. There's no question. But you should know that the highest madrigas of Emuna are when you don't understand. So sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu pushes you into a place of non-understanding, that you should just say, Ani Mamen. I have no idea why. I don't understand this at all. Why am I in this struggle? It doesn't make any sense. I'm a good guy. I've been doing this, doing that. I've been trying. Why? You're in a place of logic. You're in a place of sichlis. Emunah sichlis, it doesn't always work. Right? When things are going well, whether you even have Emunah sichlis or not, it's going well, so you're fine. You don't get pushed. But when you get pushed to the brink, or when you get pushed a little bit, Emunah sichlis can work. No, but there's a Bari Olam, it's going to be okay. But when you get really pushed, and you're really losing your mind, Emunah sichlis it's got a cap to it. If this doesn't make sense, what's going on, I really cannot make sense of it. So how can Emunah sichlis work? This doesn't make sense. Law logic is not helping me here. So you need to go to that place called Ani Mamen. It doesn't have to make sense. That's goof of my Emunah. That's what Emunah is. When it's all dark, when it doesn't make sense, Ani Mamen. So sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu pushes us to that place, the dafka, to give you the opportunity to say Ani Mamen. Some people don't. Some people lose it. Or whatever. Or they just wait till the storm's over and then things eventually calm down and then they go back to their life. They're Emunah sichlis. But those who want to work in their Emunah, fight through it, blow open the darkness to the light, and they're forever changed. They're forever changed. Nachman says, and to these eitzes that are growing in the world, each person knows, hopefully knows how to give an eitzah to himself. Whatever the person needs. To this grows Emuna. Tzalak libam. From the eitzes from afar. This eitzah seems so far away. It's so foreign. Just say in my head, Ani Mamen. Why should that work? The answer is, it does. Emuna omen. That's how Emuna grows. And those who try and those who do it have seen. They've told me. And it's going. And mamish works. And then you can fix up all the bechinas, like you said before, rafua, tefillah, and Sichos Haran. The greatest growing of Emuna is when you get to the madrega called Emunah Chabaleilos. That you have Emuna even when it's dark. Specifically when it's dark.
And that's the hardest time.
Of course. I don't understand. I don't see. So for those who are living in the world of logic, which is most people, this is very difficult. It pushes us. You're going to break and die, or you're going to break and like a phoenix come out even stronger out of the fire. Emuna Pshuta. The only thing I can say is it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. There's no other answer. That you've just jumped. If a person goes, why Hashem, why Hashem, why Hashem? He's going lower. Why Hashem, lower. His davening goes lower. His learning goes lower. Why Kodesh Baruch Hu? Everything just lower and lower and lower. Just right. But if you say, I don't care if I don't understand, it's not easy. Right? I still believe in you. You just went up, not down. Right? You only make this choice when you get tested. It's very difficult on a sunny Tuesday. Well, today wasn't so sunny, but when it was sunny, when everything's going fine, you don't have to make this choice. I'm going to Pshuta, I'm going to Sichla. You're barely thinking about it until it starts pouring rain out of nowhere. You get drenched. I was sitting here just watching. I was like, wow, that is really rough for people. It just came out of nowhere. Anybody outside today? You were? Drenched.
I have a question. Could it be that when someone's going through a situation and then they're trying to make sense of it and they're wait 1 second. Emuna, Pshuta, I'm not even going to try and understand it. I'm just going to continue moving on. Does that mean they're going to a higher level, or they're just staying rather than falling? Or
higher level. But
they're not really nothing's changing. They're just that they're stopping to try to understand what's happening.
What do you mean nothing's changing?
Meaning
the situation or them? They are changing. They are changing.
Now they stopped trying to understand. They changed.
And I know what your next question is, because I know you. Once you lock in your Emunah Pshuta, I really, really believe, I'm not going to move an ounce. I'm not a droopy Jew. I'm going to come to davening strong, even though I don't understand what's going on. You really are rock solid on that, you can then try to understand a little bit. You could try, knowing full well that you might not understand anything. Like, why is this happening to me? You could go into that. Maybe you did a sin. Maybe Kodesh wants to teach you a lesson. Again, all the logical explanations for Emuna, you can go into that. But make sure you get your bearings straight. And Ani Ma'amin, that this is exactly how it's supposed to be. It's from you, Kodesh Baruch Hu. When I start this avoda, and at the end of the day, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to say, Ani Ma'amin, it's only you, I don't have to understand. Then you could try a little bit. But be careful. If you go into that place and you get lost, you might lose what you had. So you have to know if it's worth it to go into that place. You were thinking about that question.
Yes, that was.
I know. Which is, it's good. It's an important question. That's being honest. But you shouldn't. You should do both. We should be strong enough in our Emunah Pshuta that we could go in to Emunah Sichlis and not become kofrim, not become acher. Right? Acher, what happened to acher? He went into a place that he shouldn't have gone into, trying to understand. That's what's going on. I'm not going to explain the whole Gemara now, but in Chagiga, he went into this place called Pardes. He tried to understand, and he came out a kofar. Came out acher. Rabbi Akiva, Emunah Pshuta, went in b'shalom, came out b'shalom. Ben Azai and Ben Zoma, one died and one went crazy. The paradoxes of life you cannot understand. There's certain struggles you cannot understand. But Ani Mamin, strong. Don't say it Ani Mamin, because that's not it. That's not really it. It's not just the words we're saying. It's the kavanas alev. It's the unka delipa, right? So it's better that you say Ani Mamin with the improper kavanah than not at all. That's for sure, because you'll get to it. But when you say Ani Mamin, say it not like a droopy Jew, because then you're saying it from the place of sichlis. Ani Mamin, like I think I'm a man. No, there's no question. Ani Mamin. Chazak. We forgot to be chazak. Chazak v'nes chazak. Did you say that all day long? I don't know what happened to us. We forgot what it means to be chazak. Look around in shul. Why is everybody whispering? You know I yell about this all the time. Why is everybody whispering? Amen, Yehesh Miram. Do you know what you're saying? Amen, Kal Melech Ne'eman. Whatever bracha you just said about a Kodesh Baruch Hu, I agree. Yehesh Miram, his great name should be exalted. You're going to whisper that? You obviously don't believe in the king. You really, really believed in him, that he's a living God. How could you say it like that? I think we said last week, if the king would walk in the room and the guy would say, "Oh, hail the king," and you would say, "Yes, I agree." He'd kill you. He's standing right here. And it's not about imagining it or picturing it or feeling it. None of that. That's in the sichlis world. Ani Ma'amin. Your main Yeshua Rabbis should be off the charts the next few days. Don't look like a weirdo, but you should, at least to yourself, you should say it like you mean it. Every bracha you say. Who cares if you even know what the words mean? Baruch ata Hashem Elokeinu shelo l'sani goy. A lot of the words we do know what they mean. How can you say a bracha like a wimp? Say with chizuk. No? No more droopiness. No pshuta. No kashas. Last night it was a rough night. So therefore what? Therefore God's not true. Therefore God is not creating your life right this moment because you had a rough night last night. Therefore you're saying brachas in the morning like a droopy Jew. The reason is because you're living in the world of Emunah Sichos. You're blaming a Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is actually a high level of Emuna, but you're blaming him for what's going on. It's his fault. Therefore, I'm not going to say a bracha tonight. I'm not going to say it well today. I don't want to give him that satisfaction. You're crazy, man. We don't say a conscious in our heads. That's what's going through our head. You think I want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning with my kid who's throwing up? I know you did that. But now I'm tired. Now I can't get the davening on time. And I can't daven out loud. I can't. You did it to me. Who's gonna get the last laugh? Not you. Chazak. No? So if you can't say it out loud, scream it in your head. I'm telling you, I know, Chaim, you're gonna do it. You're gonna see it's mamish awesome. You'll see. If you've never done it before, it's so awesome. Because you can literally scream at the top of your lungs in your head. And it works. Hopefully we'll get to it, oh boy. Rebbe Nachman, we're going to get to it in a minute. And you can scream at the top of your lungs, that which you can never do. You can't do it in shul because you're going to think a weirdo and you shouldn't do it. And you can't do it outside. You can't. We're not living in Tzfas or whatever. But you could do it in your head. You could scream Shirai as loud as you want in your head. You know what? Do it right now.
Did we do this there?
Did we do this?
No, not this one, but some.
Maybe. Do you want to do it right now? Try right now. Close your eyes. I know we're about to see it. Try it. Close your eyes and imagine yourself screaming at the top of your lungs on a mountaintop. Ani Maman. Screaming. Okay, my voice is hoarse. I have to stop. Screaming so much. I know, that was very quick, but did anybody get to do it? You screaming?
I feel like I've done it once, like in Israel and Yeshiva.
In your mind?
Out loud.
Oh, out loud. So you even know what it's. You even can have a. You're more there than other people, so you can imagine doing it. But you could do it.
It's pretty incredible.
To actually let it out. Yeah, but we don't always live in Israel. Anyway, let's keep moving here. Iker Gidol Emuna beginis Emunas Chavales at Emuna at nighttime. Then a koma shenitcha v'hol chelik me'alayla. Then it's garvel yom. As much as you could push off the dark night, and you could bring the light of day closer. As gadol Emuna b'yoser. You bring Emuna closer. Right? Layla's not so bad. Layla's a gematria bitachon. Layla's a gematria bitachon. That's why that's what the pasuk says. We said this in the Shabbat Bitachon Shiur. Pasuk says this is what the pasuk in Tehillim, I think. It's referring to the night of Pesach, but it's Laila Kayom Yar. The night was like day; it was bright. Laila is gematria bitachon. Kayom is gematria bitachon +1. How do you turn night into day? Through bitachon, through Emunah bitachon, believing in this Barion, trusting in Him. That this night is not really night. Night is when you don't understand. You don't believe in a Kodesh Baruch. When you believe, Mali light, Mali Laila, Mali Yom, or. It keeps growing a little bit. However much you can push off of the night, that lack, and you can bring the day closer. And the Emunah is going to grow b'shleimus. That's the pasuk of Modani of the morning. Chadash and Moharan, there's a renewed morning. We're back alive again. Rabbi Munasacha, how great my Emunah is in you, HaKadosh Baruch. Now, that is a Hagdama to Sicha Tezayin, which we skipped weeks ago. So Rebbe Nachman says like this: Da, you should know, a person can scream out The kol d'mamadaka. Kol d'mamadaka means what? A silent whisper. So it sounds like a stira. You could scream in a whisper. It's a aka gedola ma'od, and it could be a big scream. But no one can hear it. So this is what we were talking about before. You can scream out loud, mamish, but no one can hear it. Because the voice is not leaving your mouth at all. Because you're screaming out in a silent whisper. Everybody could do this. This is what we're talking about, in your mind, in your heart. You imagine in your mind, the scream, and you allow yourself to scream in your mind. And you can almost hear it. Your mind can imagine you screaming to the point where you can imagine you're hearing it. You don't actually hear it. You can imagine you're hearing it. The Yitzar B'daito called Tzaka Mamish. And you can imagine, you could form in a person's mind the sound of a scream. Imanigin, Kederch Shawat Tzawakin. Whatever this niggin is that they would scream, you can imagine such a thing. And you could have this scream to the point where it's a cold mamadaka. It's a cold, but the mamadaka. It's a voice, but it's quiet at the same time, and no one has to hear it. Kibemes, he says, she says, it's not a joke. You're actually screaming. And he proves it, because Rabbi Nachman, of course, was a doctor and a scientist. He wasn't really, but listen, look at this. He says there are nerves or channels from your lungs, where the voice comes from, that from the lungs, or the what's it called? Not the lungs. The lungs? Yeah, the rays of the lungs. I mean, that's where the sound and eventually comes from there. I mean, the air comes from there. You know, the what's it called? The veshet and what? Whatever, all these things that the coal eventually comes out of. Okay, so from the raya, the lungs, all the way out to my mouth. But then you also have the same channels from my lungs to my brain. Everything runs from the brain. Okay? So when I am screaming out loud, not only is it coming out of my mouth, but my brain is also controlling the scream, and it's in the brain as well. The Alkain says, Nachman, so Rabbi Nachman says, you can have a guy who, from his ray, his lungs, he's screaming mamish because he's connecting his brain to his lungs. He's imagining in his head that he's screaming. So his brains are connecting to his lungs right now. He's not actually allowing it to come out. But there's a connection from brain to where the coal is. And when he imagines in his head that he's screaming, he's actually screaming. I don't know, I wonder if they could put like some kind of, not a microscope, some kind of like energy meter on the lungs. And if you imagine yourself screaming out loud, would it light up a little bit? You know what I'm saying? I bet it would. You're actually screaming. But it's coming from conjuring up in the brain. Shebezeh, humachnas kol tzaka l'moch. This is how you bring the tzaka, the scream, into your head by imagining it. And it's real. V'yuchalama ben kam ben adam. You could stand in the middle of a crowded room, v'yitzak ma'od, and be screaming, v'shem adam lo yishma, but no one could hear. You should try that one time. It is so geshmak. In the middle of a crowded place, and you just close your eyes and you just start talking to Kodesh Baruch Hu, screaming out to him. Nobody knows. You're in your own little world. Olam Pnimi. It's a very cool place. He says it could be, if you scream in your head so loud, so powerful, it could be by accident a coal might come out of your voice. Just slips out. Because it's real. You're really screaming in your head so much that if you're not paying attention for a second, it can actually slip out of your mouth. Below dibur, there's no dibur here. You're not letting anything out of your mouth. It's very easy to scream that way. To let words out is hard. Could be that there's people around, or could be you're not at the level of Emuna right now. to actually say words. Kasha Yoser Litvos as a call. It's hard to grab the call, the voice through words. El Machshava, to have this whole combination of your mind working with your voice and your dibur, if you're not feeling it, or there's people there. It says derech hakana motzi called for it to come out of the call of the kana, of the vesh, whatever, the vocal cords. Of a below dibur, kalios. Without dibur, it's much easier to scream. The call becomes kal, right? Fine. So that's the Sikh of Rabbi Nachman. That ties in very nicely to what we're talking about the Emunah, right? The tza'aka, the umka deliba, is this type of scream, the Sikh of Tazayin, where you can actually conjure up in your mind that you're screaming, and you actually are screaming. It's not imagining you're screaming. The imagining you're screaming turns into it. The mice, it's a scream without a call. And just to add to it, which is very similar, but in Moharan, which is like Rabbi Nachman's like biography, Shemati b'shmo, says Rabbi Nachman, I heard in his name, Sh'amar, that Rabbi Nachman says, Mosa yesh li hizbodus. When am I doing hizbodus? V'amar, and he said, Shebisha shekol ha'olam omdim mesavivov. When the whole world is standing around me, I'm in the middle of a crowded room. V'hu yoshe b'sochem, and he's sitting over there by himself. He's sitting over there. Az yesh hizbodus. When Rabbi Nachman is surrounded by people, he's doing hizbodus. What do you mean? Hizbodus is when you're not surrounded by anyone. Hizbodus is when you're alone. Rabbi Nachman says, when all the people around me, that's what I'm doing hizbodus. Kihu yachol litzok b'kol d'mamadaka. Because Rabbi Nachman was able to scream in a whisper. The kolo nisham yisof olam atzofa. And his voice would be heard from one end of the world to the other. Not out loud, not audibly. But in kavanas alev umkadaliba, in his machshav and his consciousness, he was able to scream that all the worlds were able to hear him. He felt one with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, his body is in that place. It didn't matter that there was actual physical people around. He was in an old panini. The Gamanochi Shamati, and I heard me piv HaKadosh, says Rabbi Nosson, I heard from his holy mouth, Matzmo, Sheyesh lo kol d'mamadaka, that he had a kol d'mamadaka. He had a voice that was a whisper. Sheyochol lama ben ha'am v'ha'amon v'anashim, he was able to stand, again, he's saying it again, he was able to stand amongst the people, v'yitzak b'kol d'mamadaka, and scream in a whisper, misof halam atzofa, from one end of the world to the other, and nobody around them heard. Rabbi Nachman lived in that world of Emunah Pshuta. And this is what he would do. If he could do it, then we should do it. We should say out loud Ani Mamen. And if you want to add more Ani Mamen ben Emuna Shlema, you can say Ani Mamen in Kodesh Baruch Hu, I believe that you're here with me right now. Say whatever you want, add to it. Because I know that you're with whatever you say. And if you can't say that or whatever, and also take some time, quiet time, and scream out in your head. Whatever you want to Kodesh Baruch Hu, as loud as you want, and from wherever you want. You want to stand in front of the Kaisel and Ma'aravi, crying and screaming out to Kodesh Baruch Hu? That's a holy dimyon. You can imagine in your brain. It's very, very powerful. Stand wherever you want. Top of a mountain, or in some place that you've been emotional before. Kavarachel. Go back to that place, and you could say Tehillim by Kavarachel if you want. Right now. Why not? It's up here.